recording? Yes, I am recording. Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm George Slakic. You might have already known that. So I'm out for a bike ride on a Sunday afternoon. It's a bit of a gloomy day. It's maybe 4 or 5 degrees outside here. It's cloudy and we just switched the time. We went from daylight savings time, which is a total BS name, BS for belief system, because if you believe that this saves any daylight, you're mistaken. You're just changing the clock, but I guess you already knew that too. Just my thoughts on it, and the reason I'm stopping here is because during my ride I always get the greatest ideas, and then I go home, I go back into my normal routine, and then it's all gone. You know, it's all gone after just an hour, or definitely after a day. So I'm making it a point today to stop here and record myself for just a few minutes. Battery is good on the camera. To share some thoughts with you. See, lately I've been torn whether I should use my YouTube channel to make comments about what's going on in the world. You know, it's been going on a while that Russia has invaded Ukraine, and you know what's going on there. People are dying on pretty much on a daily basis, and we've become kind of numb to it, kind of desensitized, which is not a good thing, but we are all, like, collectively, we really can't do much. We have to trust our politicians to kind of, you know, walk the fine line between supporting Ukraine and not pissing off the Russian president so much that...
Please read the title to see what I said. Please read the title to see what I said.
And now we got the same thing going on in Israel. And I think, you know, being from Germany, I know a little bit of the history, but I'm not an expert on it. So I have to be very careful about what to say about this. And the thing is, I'm not anti-Semitic, I'm not anti-Palestinian, none of those things. I think we're all people, we all need to respect each other, we all need to have boundaries between each other, but we also need to have some kind of common ground where we can do things that we work together in some way, right? And things like religion and perhaps race and ethnicity and traditions and stuff maybe can occasionally put aside a little bit so that we don't fight over it. I mean, it's all good when you have certain traditions and beliefs and all that you share with your people, but when it comes to killing each other over those, that is when it gets really bad, and that's what's happening in the world right now. And it's at a point where, yeah, people are dying by the hundreds every day, and this is unacceptable. And now the Israel Prime Minister, he doesn't want to stop this. Like, I understand that his country was attacked. It was a surprise attack. He was blamed for it because of lacking intelligence or something, you know, where they should have probably been able to foresee this, but hey, they didn't. It was a nasty attack. There's nobody else to blame but the leaders of Hamas who decided to do this. It was terrible. But they chose to do so, and we also have to ask ourselves why. Now, going back to 1949, the UN decided to give Israel their country, and I think there were big mistakes made at the time. Now, that's when I'm getting here to my main thought that went through my head this whole bike ride. We have AI. We have AI. Like I noticed recently, I do stock footage. Who does my keywords? Well, I do. I look at my clips and I see what I see in the clips, and I write down those words. But then I also consult something as simple as ChatGPT, which is free, And there, all of a sudden, I have like half a dozen, never mind half a dozen, at least a dozen or more additional keywords that make perfect sense and that make it probably much easier for somebody to discover my clips. Now, the same is with the titles for my recent videos. I consult AI, the keywords, yeah, because I can't afford to lose out on any views that I'm getting, because I'm aiming for this YouTube channel to grow. Whether it's slow, whether it's fast, it doesn't really matter, but as long as I have some steady growth, I'll be happy, okay? Let me put it that way. So, now our politicians are elected officials. They often have been proven to be corrupt. They can be bribed. They have friends. They are human. They are human. And being human shouldn't be considered as a downside. No, it's what we have to have. So I'm not saying we should have a machine as a prime minister or president or anything like that. But what I'm saying is that it should be mandatory for these people to consult a computer before they make a decision that is programmed by a large number of people who have a way of inputting it, preferably the entire population of a country. I don't know if that would be possible, but the reason I think this is because us humans, we make decisions based on information we can process. Now, it's limited. So we tend to overlook certain things that might turn out to be extremely important when it comes down to it. And that's, I believe, 100% that this is what happened in Israel in 1949. The UN made a decision. They thought it was great. You know, Israel was finally going to have their own state and everybody was going to be happy with it. Well, it turns out it was a mistake, because otherwise we wouldn't have all these conflicts over the years, over the decades. I mean, I remember growing up in Germany, being a little boy, and my parents watching the news about the war in Israel. It's still going on. Remember 1970 or 1972, the Olympics in Munich? I was in elementary school back then, and that's when I first found out that, yeah, there were Palestinians that didn't like Israelis or Jewish people. You know, I was probably 7 or something like that. So you'd figure that by now, after all these years, somebody would have been bright enough to negotiate a solution. But you know what the problem is? People get elected into high positions. They probably try to do honestly a good job and stuff, but there comes a point where it's just getting too much, and it's getting like they have to take a step back, can't really deal with it. But now the problem is there for the next guy, and the next guy is new at this, doesn't have an idea, and mistakes get made throughout the years and it never ends. Now, maybe AI, artificial intelligence, a computer that could be consulted, that has all the information available, could make some suggestions based on all this information without overlooking anything. And then it should be up to the human people to make the final decision. I think that would make sense. That would be worth a try, but we'd have to really get everybody involved in this. And you know what? It should be the main priority of this computer should be like, we do not want to use weapons. We do not want to kill anyone. And yeah, if somebody just decides to do a terrorist attack like that, well, yeah, what do you do? I think that's the problem right now that we have in the Middle East. How do you get to those Hamas leaders if they're hiding in ambulances and hospitals and all this stuff? You know, probably the best decisions in the world couldn't have presented that. That's because it's a human failure. Yeah, I cannot call it anything else. It's a human failure, and we have our imperfections, but we should find ways to deal with it so that it doesn't destroy the whole world. Let's hope we're not being drawn into,
terrible word.
and I hate to say that word, probably can't even say that on YouTube, so I'm probably gonna put something else over it. But just like let's not let this war become something so big that you know, we all lose our life the way we know it. That's just a little rant today, guys. Totally unscripted. I just thought of all this while I was riding my bike here. Now I gotta get on there, ride it back home before it gets dark, because time change, right? So hey, give me a thumbs up if you will, and if you're interested in hearing me talk a little more, well, just subscribe to my channel. Yeah, I get paid like 1 cent for you watching this, so I thank you for that. And yeah, don't stop watching my channel. There are other videos. Like, how about the one that's on the screen right now that YouTube picked especially for you? Because it's selected, how they call that? Best for the viewer. The viewer, that is you. Welcome.